What drives a person to commit the unthinkable? The human psyche is a labyrinth of mysteries, and we're about to embark on a journey deep into its darkest corners, unveiling what truly lurks behind the captivating facade of a charismatic killer, finding the line where the charisma meets the chaos. In this video, we'll unravel the intricate threads of human nature, offering a glimpse into the complexities of the human experience. Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today, we dive into one of the darkest and most enigmatic chapters in criminal history. We're going to discuss the individuals involved in the heinous acts committed by the notorious serial killer Ted Bundy. And before we begin, if you're intrigued by true crime stories, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let's get started. Let us begin by understanding the life of this infamous serial killer. Theodore Robert Bundy, widely known as Ted Bundy, was a man who wore many masks. Born on November 24, 1946 in Burlington, Vermont, he grew up in a seemingly ordinary family. His early life was marked by contradictions. Bundy was a charming and an intelligent individual. He displayed no initial signs of the darkness that would later consume him. As he transitioned into adulthood, Bundy's sinister tendencies began to surface. His modus operandi was chilling in its complexity. He was known for using a combination of charm and violence to lure his victims, primarily young women. He often disguised himself with fake injuries, like wearing a cast or using crutches, in order to appear vulnerable, which allowed him to gain the trust of his victims. Once they let their guards down, he would overpower and abduct them. Bundy's reign of terror spanned several states, making it incredibly challenging for law enforcement to link the crimes together. He possessed an uncanny ability to change his appearance and assume fake identities, making him a slippery figure for the authorities to apprehend. The nationwide manhunt for Ted Bundy would eventually lead to his capture in 1975. Initially arrested for suspicion of theft, police soon discovered disturbing evidence in his vehicle, including burglary tools, ski mask, and suspicious items that pointed to his involvement in abductions. Once in custody, Bundy's facade began to unravel, revealing the true horror of his crimes. He was linked to a series of disappearances, murders, and sexual assaults, leaving the nation and the world in shock. Ted Bundy's crimes were not only limited to the headlines. He left a trail of unsung victims, the family and friends of those who suffered at his hands. While the name Ted Bundy conjures images of fear and dread, it's important to remember that behind each headline and each statistic, there was a real person, a life cut tragically short, and ripple effect of pain that extended far beyond the crime scene. One of Bundy's victims, whose life was forever changed by her encounter with the serial killer, is Linda Ann Haley. Her story serves a harrowing testament to the enduring impact of Bundy's heinous actions. Linda was a 21-year-old psychology major at the University of Washington. She was known for her cheerful personality, her love for animals, and her dreams of making positive impact on the world through her studies. On January 31st of 1974, tragedy struck when Linda disappeared from her Seattle home. Her friends and family were deeply concerned, and the investigation quickly revealed a connection to the notorious Ted Bundy, who had been lurking in the shadows of the Washington state area. Linda was Bundy's first known victim in Washington. He broke into her house while she slept and abducted her, leaving no immediate trace of his presence. It would be months before authorities linked her disappearance to the serial killer, creating unbearable uncertainty for her loved ones. Investigators worked tirelessly to uncover the truth, and while Bundy was eventually captured, Linda was never found. Her tragic fate was confirmed years later when Ted Bundy confessed to her murder. Linda Ann Haley was but one of many women who fell prey to Ted's crime spree. Families across the nation had to struggle with the unimaginable grief of losing a loved one to Bundy's horrific crimes. The police played a crucial role in apprehending Ted Bundy, but they faced numerous challenges along the way. One of the most significant challenges was Ted Bundy's ability to blend seamlessly into society. He was known for his charming demeanor and his capacity to adopt different personas, which made it quite difficult to profile him. As a result, law enforcement had a difficult time connecting the dots between various disappearances and murders, as they initially struggled to recognize the same perpetrator was responsible. Bundy also targeted his victims during an era when law enforcement lacked the advanced tools and database available today. The absence of modern forensic technology made it challenging to gather evidence and identify patterns. Nevertheless, dedicated investigators across multiple states worked relentlessly to piece together the puzzle of Bundy's crimes. The cooperation between the law enforcement agencies became paramount as Bundy's crimes transcended state lines. As evidence began to accumulate and witnesses came forward, a clear picture of Bundy's activities emerged. The tireless efforts of the police eventually led to Bundy's capture. Ted Bundy's crimes had a profound impact on society, not only in terms of fear but also in terms of how crimes were investigated and reported. During the 1970s, the name Ted Bundy struck fear into the hearts of Americans and people worldwide. His crimes, characterized by their sheer brutality and seemingly random nature, sent shockwaves through communities. The fear instilled by Bundy's crimes was not only due to the gruesome nature of the acts, but also the realization that this charismatic ordinary man could hide in plain sight. As news of Bundy's heinous acts spread, women across the country began to alter their daily routines. They became more cautious when walking alone or accepting help from strangers, reflecting the growing sense of vulnerability. In the wake of Bundy's capture, this case served as a catalyst for advancement in criminal profiling, forensic scene, and the sharing of criminal database. The development of such tools was critical to preventing future serial killers from eluding capture for as long as Bundy did. Now, let's shift our focus to those who may have unknowingly or knowingly enabled Ted Bundy during his reign of terror. While Ted Bundy was the face of the heinous crimes, his ability to continue his murderous rampage was aided, in part, by a combination of individuals who either knowingly or unknowingly played a role in enabling him. One category of enablers includes those who had close contact with Bundy but remained unaware of his dark double life. Friends, acquaintances, and even romantic partners were left shocked and traumatized when they discovered the true extent of his crimes. These individuals often struggled with feelings of guilt and betrayal as they had no reason to suspect Bundy's sinister activities while he presented himself as charming and harmless. On the other hand, there were those who may have knowingly enabled Bundy, either due to willful blindness or a reluctance to believe the extent of his crimes. Bundy's ability to elude capture and continue his crimes for as long as he did raised questions about whether some individuals, including law enforcement officers and landlords, may have ignored or dismissed suspicious behavior that could have led to his earlier apprehension. Once Ted Bundy was captured and his crimes were revealed, it led to a complex legal battle and a public outcry. The capture of Ted Bundy in 1975 marked the beginning of a tumultuous chapter in American legal history. His arrest was a turning point in a protracted legal battle that would captivate the nation. Bundy's trials, particularly the one in Florida, became media spectacles of unprecedented scale. They were among the first criminal trials to be televised nationally, allowing the public an up-close and personal view of the proceedings. His defense team, led by attorney F. Lee Bailey, employed various tactics to challenge the evidence against Bundy and cast doubt on his guilt. Bundy himself represented the classic image of a manipulative and charismatic killer, drawing the attention of the media and the public. The legal battles of Bundy's case raised important questions about the criminal justice system, the rights of the accused, and the use of forensic evidence. They also brought to light the need of a more organized and coordinated approach to handling cases of this magnitude. As Bundy's crimes came to light and the survivors' and victims' families shared their stories, it ignited a groundswell of public cry. People demanded more strict laws and harsher penalties for serial killers and sex offenders. The emotional toll on the victims' families was immeasurable, and their presence in court during Bundy's trial added a human face to the tragedy. The legacy of Bundy case extended to a broader societal awareness about the prevalence of serial killers and the importance of vigilant communities. Today, we are far removed from the horrors of Ted Bundy's crimes. As the years have passed since Ted Bundy's capture, the scars left by his crimes have not faded, and the impact on the victims and their loved ones remains. For the families of Bundy's victims, closure has been an ongoing and painful journey. The trials and public fascination with Bundy's case have kept their wounds fresh, even decades after the crimes. Many of the survivors of Bundy's attacks have also struggled with the trauma and fear that lingers long after the events. Their stories of resilience and recovery are a testament to the strength of the human spirit. While we reflect on the legacy of Ted Bundy, it's essential to acknowledge the lasting impact of his crimes on society. The Bundy case catalyzed significant changes in law enforcement practices, forensic technology, and public awareness of serial killers. And as we conclude our exploration of the murders of the notorious serial killer Ted Bundy, let us never forget the victims and the enduring lessons learned from this dark chapter in history. We hope you found this exploration of the dark and complex world of Ted Bundy's crimes both informative and thought-provoking. If you have any thoughts or suggestions for future videos, please leave them in the comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for joining us. Until next time.